Favorite car of all time?
E36 M3.
Best road trip song?
Danger Zone.
One car you'd never sell?
My RX-7.
Manual or sequential gearbox?
Sequential.
Welcome to the Full Throttle Podcast, where cars, chaos, and questionable life choices are made at 100 miles an hour. I'm your host, Mickey Andrade, professional wrench turner, serial Skyline addict, and living proof that bad decisions can pay off. From botched builds to track day drama, we're going to get into it today. And before I do the intro, of course you guys noticed this ugly Christmas sweater that I'm wearing. We just launched a whole drop of these, plus Throttle Racing Department drop, which is honestly my favorite drop that we've done in a long time. All launched up on the Throttle website. Head on over. The beauty of it is you get yourself an ugly Christmas sweater to wear to the Christmas party, and you also get entered to win our next dream build, which is pretty cool. Also, any car parts you buy at the website, throtl.com, you will get an entry to win for every dollar you spend. So just want to put that out there before we get kicked off. But here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts. Today we're throwing down with one of the hardest working wrenches in the car scene. The man who bleeds 10W30 and lives life at Redline, Mr. Quinn Clark.
That was pretty good. Those shirts aren't ugly. I don't know why people call them ugly sweaters. They're gangster.
Buddy,
You got
this is my
R34
show.
on there?
I'm not done introing you yet. Can you just give me a second? Wow. Man, things never change around here. You've seen him on Throttle wrenching late nights with the boys, cracking jokes and helping turn junkyard dreams into YouTube gold. From the smell of fresh rubber to the chaos of the over-the-top SEMA builds that we do here, this dude's in the trenches, keeping the car culture alive and loud at Throttle. So grab your energy drink, rev your soul up, and get ready to dive headfirst into the grease grind and glory of life behind the lens at Throttle and under the hood in our shop. This isn't your dad's podcast. This is Full Throttle, baby, with Quinn Clark. So let's get into it. Now you can talk.
That was good. That was solid. That was a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
I didn't know you were so passionate about these Christmas sweaters.
I think they're out. Dude, we've done them every year, and they're so good.
I know.
Like the Mustang
actually,
one,
the
the
quality is
R34
actually
one.
kind of nice, too.
Like, if it was genuinely ugly, sure, I get it. I guess it's just like the trend of calling them ugly sweaters. I think they're cool. Every year we do them, I think they're so good.
Dude, this one has an R34 on it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And it's like 8-bit. It looks really
like
cool.
Minecraft style or something.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Reminds me of Nintendo back when I was a kid. You wouldn't know anything about that. Wait, you know about Nintendo, right? I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah.
you weren't born
I
yet.
played
But,
Minecraft a lot.
but Minecraft, that's different than like 8-bit Nintendo.
No, true. 8-bit was before my time, but I still remember playing them.
Well, let's get into it, dude. So you've obviously been here for 4 years now, and you've seen a lot in those 4 years. It probably feels like 10 at this point.
Yeah, coming up on 5.
Yeah, so your first build here, well, the first mainstream build here was the Throtl Eclipse.
Yep.
The Fast and Furious Paul Walker hero car
Mm-hmm.
that we debuted at SEMA 2021.
2021.
I don't
Yep.
remember the year exactly.
I think that was
but
the year, 2021.
I did do some Googling, and that was 4 years ago, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
So if you guys aren't familiar with Quinn, if you've been living under a rock, don't watch Throttle's YouTube channel. Quinn is one of the staff that works out here in this workshop with me and Ricky, and has been integral in basically us getting the amount of builds done that we do, which is pretty obscene how many cars we pump out every year.
It's a lot.
And, you know, without Quinn on the team, there's no way any of this stuff could get done on time because we do a lot of stuff here, and you're very proficient. So,
Thank you.
you know, I want to kick this off with a banger, dude. Like, let's get into some questions before we get into your background. Best engine, Mazda 13B or an S50 BMW?
13B is a really good one.
Dude, you didn't even hear the
S52 is
second
great.
engine.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Is it S50 or 52?
S52s are great engines also.
Okay, what about S50?
S50 is also good. The S52 is just an updated S50.
Okay, so it's like in the JDM world, it's like early and late model Zenki and Koki.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 13B or S50?
Ooh, at this point in my life, I'm going 13B.
Okay.
So
you're actually a converted Rotary man now.
100%. Coyote also has a good contender in there as well. Those engines are fantastic.
You daily drive one, so I can get
Yeah.
that. But you've fallen in love with the 13B because you have it in your RX-7.
Yeah, it's so much fun. The engines have so much character. It is like every other car is like a 4-stroke, and the Rotary's a 2-stroke.
Yes.
It reminds me of a 250, YZ250 2-stroke dirt bike. The way it goes, like, I don't know, the feeling of the car I've never felt a car that feels like that. Yeah, I've driven cars with way more power, but like the essence, how raw it feels, 13Bs are just on another level for me.
Yeah, and I think 13B in an FD3S chassis is very special too.
100%.
So that chassis, one, it's just very sexy. The lines are way before their time, but the chassis feel and analogness of that platform in and of itself makes the 13B, I think, ideal.
They're so light and so nimble, and the power delivery is insane, and they make excellent power for what they are.
Yep, agreed. No, we both have 13Bs, so we've both experienced them at different power levels, and I honestly think yours is kind of like the way you have it right now, the way you got it and have set it up is perfect. It's not overly built. It's just does exactly what it needs to do, and it provides what you need.
Yeah, and mine's been extremely reliable. I go out on track and I beat the snot out of that thing, and it takes it. It's totally fine. Come off track, oil temps are fine, coolant temps are fine, everything's holding together. It caught fire at Liga de Seca, which is unfortunate, but that was from the old turbo leaking oil. Caught the air filter on fire. Luckily, there's only a couple of things damaged on the car. Totally fine,
That's
totally
good.
savable. But
yeah, that rotary fires are not abnormal. And I'm sitting here having the realization that I'm the only idiot in this building that has had a bad rotary experience. Like Ricky's rotaries are like cockroaches, man.
It's crazy.
La cucaracha, as he would say. But
yeah.
He beats the snot out of his rotaries and they last. You've beat the crap out of yours. Yours was used in the car
I
from
didn't even
Japan.
take that engine out. I just set a Dishworks fuel system up on it, tuned it on a Power FC the way Ricky tunes his cars.
Yep.
Go out there and beat the snot out of it. It's fine.
I've been through 6 of the damn things. I can't keep them alive.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the driver.
You're being too nice to it. You got to abuse it.
Maybe. All right, buddy. Well, let's go back a little bit further here. What got you hooked on cars? I mean, like a lot of us started in Hondas. A lot of us got started with Hot Wheels. Like, what was your thing?
Ooh, so mine was Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Dang,
when I was
video
11
games.
or 12.
Okay.
This was a long time ago, and I never grew up around cars. My mom had like a Volvo S70. It was a 97. My dad had an F-150.
Wait, a wagon or a sedan?
It was a sedan. It wasn't anything special at all.
Sure.
But my dad had a 69 Mach 1 Mustang when he was in high school and college.
That's pretty
and
special.
It was also maroon, so
dang,
kind of
okay.
like my 5.0. But I like grew up not around cars, but also thinking Mustangs were the best car ever. So when I got Need for Speed Most Wanted, I started playing the game. I got to a point where I got the Mustang GT, and I was like, all right, game's over. I got the fastest car. I win. And then I get to a race, and it's like this canyon race, and I like lost. I was like shocked. I was like, how is that possible?
What did you get beat by?
It was a Lotus. It was a Lotus Elise.
Okay, well.
And so I upgraded the Mustang as much as I could, and I couldn't beat it. And then I started like researching why the Elise was faster in this like specific track. And at first it was on video game stuff. And then I started going off the video game forums and actually looking up the differences between the cars. And that's how I kind of got interested in that. And then I ended up buying an Elise, and then I beat the race first try. So I was like, and then it kind of just threw
That
everything
was like your
into
first
a spin, and that was like the first dig down the wormhole for me.
And that was your first experience with power to weight ratios and
Suspension, live
suspension
axle,
tuning.
independent rear, light, nimble cars. Power isn't always the answer. Faster cars doesn't necessarily mean more power.
It's actually a great lesson, and for that to be your first lesson, that's pretty advanced. First car you ever owned, what went wrong with it and what went right?
Oh, my 98 M3. Everything went wrong with it.
The one you still have?
I still have it, yeah. And nothing went right. I
Nothing?
put that car through hell trying to learn. So when I bought the car, first of all, I paid like, I think $3,000. Nobody should ever buy an M3 for $3,000, and there's a reason for that. And it's because this one was clapped.
No, I think Evan paid more than that for his, and his was really bad.
Yeah, so mine was also the wrong spec. Mine was an automatic convertible. And the car was just in rough shape. And I didn't know anything. I wasn't a mechanic. I didn't work on anything. And so the car just completely fell apart on me everywhere. And that's kind of where I started to learn how to fix cars, was because of that M3.
Okay, and now when I met you, you were driving a four-door E36 sedan.
Yep.
Which you still have.
I'm really bad at selling cars. I just keep everything.
I think majority of, I was going to say majority of car owners are, but that's not true. Majority of car owners that are mechanically inclined typically are. Because, so what if something breaks, you just fix it, right?
100%.
And most people that are just car guys aren't necessarily wrenches. Maybe, this one's starting to have problems, I'll just sell it and get something else.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of my black Vert, but nobody wants.
That's actually your first your first car, or that's not the chassis?
That is.
That is,
Yeah,
okay.
Black E36 M3.
So I've only seen that a couple times in your garage.
Yeah, you probably saw it at my house.
You had
more
a
than
full
anything.
built motor you built in school for that and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And have you sold that motor since then? Or?
I did. Yeah. I
That was
traded it
recently?
Yeah, that was. Evan was trying to get that motor off me for years. So that was an S52.
Should have sold it to him.
built. I didn't want to because I wanted a turbo it for my M3. And then by the time I was finally like, all right, I'm over it. I'm trying to do 13B stuff now. I went to Evan to sell it. And he's like, it's fine. I'm moving on to other things. And
Okay.
so then I ended up getting rid of that engine. But that thing was sick, man. That was my first built engine. So it was a D-board S52. So instead of a 3.2, it was a 3.1 for thicker cylinder walls. So I had ordered custom pistons for it. It was on an Eagle connecting rod, full studded everything.
Dang.
It was gangster.
Fully built.
Yeah, 1,000 horsepower ready S52. That would stand
D-board.
toe-to-toe with that 2J.
Really?
The Supra, yeah.
Damn. D-board, I don't know that I've ever even heard of that.
Yeah, so when you start making over 1,000 horsepower on the S52s, the blocks start to crack. You start cracking cylinder boards.
Sounds like an RB.
Yeah, so the 2.8 liter engines don't have that, the 328s, but the crank is cast and the M3 is forged. So you need to put an M3 crank in a 2.8. And so that's essentially what I did. I punched it out. The 328s are 84 millimeter. My engine was 85. So it's a little bit bigger, but still plenty of meat on the cylinder walls. They're cast iron closed deck blocks, so they're strong as hell.
Yeah,
But
damn. That thing
such a good
it has a
engine.
lot of potential.
Yeah.
And that's obviously why it has the following it has.
Yep. They're still kind of slept on even to this day, I feel like. Not a lot of people do big power like M50, S50 engines.
There's just so much newer stuff that people have just moved on already.
Yeah. They're super big in Europe.
Yeah, I can imagine. There's probably tons of them laying around junkyards too. So when we met you initially years and years ago, you were already sort of making YouTube content for yourself under the name Menace on YouTube. Some of you guys probably might recognize that. But did you have any early inspirations on YouTube for that, or were you just kind of winging it?
It was kind of a blend. So I started my channel for multiple reasons. And the easiest reason was because I was tired of explaining things to people on Instagram. So I started messing with my M3s, building engines. I did a manual swap and all this stuff. And I was posting about all these things on Instagram. And my Instagram following kind of took off. I think in 2013, I had like almost 20,000, which that account got freaking hacked. And now it's gone, which sucks. But I would post about what I'm doing, manual swapping, engine builds, pulling the heads off, you know, going through these cars, and people would ask me questions. I kind of became like the go-to E36. My messages were flooded, and I was explaining the same 10 things to like 100 different people.
Over and over
Yeah, so
and
I was
over.
like, all right, so I realized the need for a channel so I can make a video on it. When somebody asks me, I don't have to write 10 paragraphs. I can just drop them a link to the video, and I put all my information that I knew about that into that. So that was kind of one aspect of what my channel was. The other one, this story I heard a little bit. This was from my mom. When I was 18, I bought a brand new set of headlights for my M3. They were like clear. They had halos in them. It was a single piece. It was really nice. And I was stoked because it made the M3 look brand new because mine had like super trashed faded headlights.
Modernized it a bit too.
And I was installing them, and I worked at at Vaughn's at the time, and I didn't make a lot of money. So this set of headlights, even though it was like $230, it was like a month worth of paycheck for me
it's
to
a
get
lot.
these freaking headlights. I was stoked on these things, and I was like so happy, and I was working on my car. I was putting them in, and my mom comes out, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm making my M3 look sick, Mom. Like, it's going to be so cool. Why are these halos up? It's going to be gangster." And she's like, "You should be saving that money for college or saving that money for this, or you should be doing this instead." And I was like, "Yeah, but like, sick cool. M3 is gangster. Come on." And she looked at me and she said, "You will never make money working on your own car." And I was like, "Dang." That hurt, you know? And I'm like, because I'm like stoked on these headlights, and now I just got squashed completely.
Yeah. She tried to give you that dose of reality, huh?
Yeah, and then I would go on YouTube and I would watch you guys. I would watch Adam. I'd watch TJ. And all you guys are doing,
you're like
working on our own cars, making money, making it happen. Not just making it happen, but like making a living
money
out of this to a degree, like to an extent, more so than, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but like this was in the early days. This was probably 2013, 2014.
So that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that you were actually like attentive to what we were doing.
Yeah, so that was like, these guys are doing it, I'm going to do it. Now, of course, the whole YouTube strategy was like such a cloud of mystery. It was all so new for the automotive side. Like,
and it was mainly vlogging. Let's be real.
Yeah, and
right?
I remember like watching TJ for months, and then it was like, guys, we just hit 50,000 subscribers, and I was like, oh my god, so this was like so early, and I was like, if these guys are doing it, I can do it, and so that's what I started doing. I didn't realize that, you know, certain cars do way better, and certain styles of video do way better. So I was just playing with what I had, which was E36s, and they weren't super popular. So my like vlog aspect of my channel never went anywhere, but my DIYs did pretty good. So I've got a lot. They're still up on my channel, like full head gasket replacement, cooling system rebuilds, manual swaps, and this is like detailed, every single nut and bolt from start to finish. Tools you need, like everything. And those were
because those are sort of how-tos. Do you feel like, or do you still see like people? Do you see the growth still in those videos? Like they're still just continually just going up in growth.
Yeah, I still get comments on
viewership?
that channel almost every week.
That's cool.
Notifications, and I still reply to people who have questions about it. But
That's neat. I never had a YouTube channel per se. I never posted videos. I had one just to comment and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we started our YouTube channel here at Throtl in 2016 or 17. And me coming from the older generation, I wasn't really even watching YouTube too much back then.
It's funny to like sit down and think about, because I remember starting my channel and making content and all this stuff, and then like after I'd already started, then Hoonigan started posting.
Yeah.
And then like all these other channels that are big now.
You were around
like,
before then.
Yeah, I was posting on YouTube before then, but mine just never went anywhere.
Yeah, well.
So some people make it, some people don't, you know.
Well, that's the thing. It is a lot of things that go into that. It's a whole recipe, right? It's like,
it is a lot. And nobody back then knew. It was like some people, like you read all the forums, you do all the stuff, it's like, well, some people get lucky and make it and some people don't. And then, but now you look back and
it's not necessarily luck. It was as I said, a recipe of things that needed to happen, and the growth was there for the people that got the recipe right.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I was just
you were winging
shooting videos, sending them out into the ether, and hoping.
Hey, you were smarter than me. I wasn't shooting anything. I didn't even want to be on YouTube, but here we are.
And that's how Evan actually found me, was through my channel.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when we were over in TJ's old shop and we were sharing space just on the other side of the parking lot, and I remember he was telling me about you. He found you on Instagram or YouTube, I can't remember. And I was working on other Throtl projects during that time. He brought his E36 in. He's like, "You don't need to worry about this one. I got a guy coming down that knows these cars inside and out. He's turboed them before, and he just knows what has to happen with this head and all this stuff." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then you turned up, and then the rest is history. I know there was a bit of I want to say there was some time between when you came down and worked on Evan's car versus when you actually started working here. There was like a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, there was a couple of years. So for a while, I was kind of doing.
Was it
like
a couple years?
It was a couple of years.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I think
doesn't feel like that.
I think the first time I came down I was 20, and then when I got hired, I was 24. 24.
Dude, that's not 25. A couple years. That's a few
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So like between them, there were many times where Evan would bring me in. It felt like when you guys would run into an issue you couldn't solve, I was the first call. So I remember working on the Orange 335, Rick's Porsches, a couple of other cars.
Did you work on Rick's Porsches?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I used to come down. I worked on Evan's M3 quite a bit. Actually,
I
he dropped
remember
his
that.
car off a couple of times at my house to get things dialed in. And it's all the little things that Evan had wrong. His spark plug gaps were way too big. This wasn't installed right, and kind of just sorting the car out, getting it better, you know?
Yeah.
And then Evan called me, and he was like, "I need another tech."
We got a spot.
I probably should go.
I remember the day he asked me, he's like, "Hey, what do you think about Quinn being here every day?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?"
I remember trying to help you with your FD. That thing was sitting on the rack. You just got it. I was like, "Yo, let me help you build that." And then I watched you guys build the whole thing. I was like,
"Yeah, well, we had a plan, so." Well, that's cool, man, and it's been a fun journey having you here too. Without you in the team, there's no way we could have gotten a lot of these projects done, because it just takes a village to get these things done. And your knowledge and expertise in some of the spaces that Ricky and I aren't knowledgeable or experts in has been very helpful around here. So was the dream always to work in automotive space, or did it just evolve? I mean, obviously you started very young, so.
I did and I didn't. I started working on my own cars because I had to, not going into the intention of it being a career. So I was actually a computer science major in high school and in college before. I got out of high school. They had a programming course in my high school. So I did like 2 or 3 years of that. I became a TA like my senior year
Oh,
for
dang.
programming.
Okay.
And then when I went into college, I just did mainline programming courses. I decided to switch when I took a C class. A C is a programming language.
Yep.
And it was 5 hours long, and it was 3 days a week. And I remember sitting there in class, like just ready to take my head off because I was so, it's like, and then I realized I was like, dude, I can't even sit here for 5 hours programming. Like, how am I going to do this for 40 hours a week?
This is not fun.
Yeah, this is awful. This is like, I was good at it, but I was like, dude, this is not what I want to do anymore. And
it's crazy when reality smacks you in the face.
Yeah, 100%. And so I started like learning about engine stuff in programming class because I wasn't paying attention to class. I was like, oh, let me see how this goes together and all that stuff. And so I kind of figured that. And then eventually I was like, I'm done with programming.
Yeah.
Let me go jump over. And so I went to Miracosta, which is a local college, and they have a really good auto tech program. So I just kind of jumped from programming to there and then kind of just took off.
So, going back to the story about your mom telling you you're wasting your time working on your own car, you should be working on other people's cars or focusing on your job or whatever. How did she feel about you sort of pivoting from computer science to going to Miracosta for automotive?
I remember having that conversation, and she wasn't upset, but she wasn't stoked, for sure.
Well, she said you were never going to make money working on your own car, not somebody else's.
Yeah, true. I was still a programming major when all that happened.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of I was still a programming major while I was doing my own YouTube channel, and then maybe a year or something after that, then I made the jump. So she wasn't very excited about it, but she kind of knew that I was going to do it because I like loved doing it. That's all I did after school and after work. It was just work on my own stuff. So I think she saw the passion.
Yeah.
I didn't get any like pushback. Like, maybe you should reconsider. She didn't say any of that. She was just like, all right, cool, go.
Yeah. I think that, it was probably really wise of her. She probably had to bite her tongue a little bit. But at the same time, like, I think it's really wise. I don't have children, so I can only imagine. But, like, I think it's really wise for a parent to allow a child to grow into a career that they want to love or they love.
True.
I think the reason why this business has been successful is because we all love cars.
Yep.
We love working with like-minded people that are into cars, and it makes things work, and it doesn't make it feel like work.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, get up in the morning, and I've worked corporate jobs, and I've even worked corporate automotive jobs, and getting up in the morning at some of those jobs, I didn't want to get out of bed and go to work. I wanted to go tinker with something else or, do something different. And here it never has felt like that.
100%.
So it's kind of cool. So be honest, dude. Like, I want you to answer this from your heart.
Okay.
What were your first impressions of working with Ricky and myself out here in the shop when you first got here?
It was a dream, dude. I was so nervous I was going to make a mistake and then be out. I'm going to be completely honest. I was like, dude, this is my shot. Like, don't mess it up. Because I had worked at Throtl a couple of times on odd jobs and stuff, getting brought in.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if I could just figure out how to do this all the time, it would be the best thing ever.
So you
and then
realized...
it started, and I was like, you get one shot, don't mess it up, you know?
But it's interesting that you realized, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you realized before, like right away, that you needed to do this. Like, this was what made you happy.
100%. And every time I came to Throtl to work on Evan's car, Rick's car, I was like poking him. Let me be part of the team. Let me come.
Were you?
Yeah, 100%. I was like, how do I be a part of this? How do I get in,
That's crazy.
And it was always kind of like, oh, let's just finish this car and then we'll think about it. And then it was that. And then he called me. I was like, we're in, baby. Come on, let's go. Let's light it off. So I was just trying to do as best as I could. And then the same thing, it was a little bit of confidence at the beginning because Evan was like, hey, we got this Eclipse. Can you build a 4G? And I was like, yeah, 100%. Never touched a 4G in my life before. I was like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
And so I was like staring at a 4G block. I was like, if I mess this up, I'm done. I'm cooked,
Yeah, I don't want to piss Jared DeAnd off, but you basically faked it till you made it, right?
Kind of, yeah. Just a little bit too much confidence. It's like, yeah, I could do that. 100% I could do that. And then get in here like, let's see what happens. But it worked out.
As with anything, man, a little bit of research. An engine's an engine at the end of the day, unless it's a rotary. And there's a lot of information out there, and you're a savvy enough guy to go do that research offline and figure out what needs to happen. And you made it look easy. I'll be honest. I've watched that video a few times, and I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, that was the first 4G I've ever built ever. So that's just not. I mean, I've put together plenty of E36 engines, and I was an industry mechanic for 4 years before coming here. So I'd done tons of head jobs. So it wasn't I was going in blind. It was just like I'd never particularly built a 4G63 before.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
I mean, it turned out great.
If it fires up, it fires up.
Still living, right?
Yeah.
Same engine.
Same motor.
That was one thing I wanted to touch on. You just mentioned about your mechanic history. So we kind of fast forwarded through your tinkering in your garage on your BMWs to starting here. But you did spend a couple years working in a job shop where basically you were doing transmissions, axles,
everything.
Coolant flushes, oil changes. Like, that's some experience that neither Ricky nor I have, or anyone else in this building for that matter, of working in a general maintenance shop where, you're working on people's cars because they don't know how, essentially, or they don't want to take it to a dealer.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you brought to the team that Ricky and I didn't have. And when you work in that environment, it's all about pace, right? How fast can you get this done? Can you get it done in less hours than the book calls for, so that the shop can make money, you can make your money, and you can get the next car in and get ahead, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not a philosophy we have here.
No, it's a completely different dynamic being in a shop. And so I kind of realized the need to get better through tech school and through all this stuff. I was like, if I'm going to take this the end goal for me was YouTube, social media. However, I needed to make that happen to be the career. I didn't want my career to be working in a shop forever, working on other people's car forever. But I realized the need to get some actual industry experience because it would help with the videos and help with the content and help with my understanding of how things work. And I went to go to a general shop, like a mom and pop style shop, not a dealership. And I'm really glad I did that because it's helped a lot with the dynamic of all the cars we built here. We do everything.
If you were stuck at a Lexus dealership or a BMW dealership, you're working on the same stuff.
100%.
Mainly
it's wild,
late model stuff.
How committed some of those guys get. The dealership level technicians, they're so fast at what they are. So I actually experienced this firsthand at the shop that I worked at. I was there for maybe 2 years, and we had an old Ford tech come in. He was like a dealership technician. He had been a dealer tech for like 40, 45 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was a pretty old dude, but dude, he was lightning fast on a Ford. It was insane to watch him work because he would just rip these things apart at a pace I'd never seen before. It was insane. He blows me out of the water for speed. And
for him, he's like, okay, this is the job I'm doing on this particular vehicle. I know I need this size wrench because this is the hardware. In his head, he's already got it sorted, right?
100%.
So that's where that speed comes from.
The problem is that he was a Ford tech. And so he only lasted about a month and a half in our shop.
Oh, jeez.
Because when we put him on anything else,
he was slow as molasses, huh?
He was worse than he was insane. You put him on a Toyota, he doesn't know anything, bro. He's like, I don't know like how to take this valve cover off. I don't know where the freaking spark plugs are on this thing. And it was like, you literally couldn't put him on anything other than a Ford because it took him so long to do everything, even just oil changes on a Nissan. He was like, where's the filter? What does the filter look like? It was like you get so locked into one brand at the dealership level. And I'm sure there are guys that work at dealerships that are well-rounded and can get around like that. But it was just really crazy. I'm like, man, I'm glad I work at the shop that I work at because we work on everything. Priuses, we did fleet vehicles for the city of San Marcos. They're big rigs. We did fire trucks. We did normal people's cars. We did sports cars. We did big SUVs, diesels. We did everything.
Man, that's one thing that I've taken away from your time here is just that the ability to kind of just read and react to whatever gets put on the lift. Yeah. And Ricky and I are the same way. We neither of us had an expertise, obviously, because we never had the background that you had. I come from race cars. Ricky comes from just wrenching in his own workshop at his house. So
it's so nice.
It's a different mentality.
The adaptability, because it was being able to jump and shift between all the cars. It helps a lot, especially when you start doing weird things that you don't normally work on, like 355, because you can identify. And it's also cool when you do things like the 300ZX or the Supra, because you spend enough time working on these cars, you realize, like, this is how Ford sets up a PCV system. This is how Dodge does it. This is how Nissan does it, how Toyota does it. And so you kind of get like an idea of what the system should be. And then when you get handed a custom car, you're like, I can do this the way Dodge does it, and I can do this the way Nissan does it. And then you put all these
you
OEM
can grab the
styles
variable
together.
That makes sense for that build.
Yeah, and make it work. You know, and put weird techniques on a Supra that 2J people never do. You know?
Yeah, and that's one thing that, like, I've learned in our time in this business is like, you know, not being specifically tied to a make or model. I think it's more like a race car mechanic type thing where you just kind of adapt to what needs to happen. And the more experience you have, the more opportunity you have to make something work that someone that's pigeonholed into a Supra or a Skyline is going to do it like they saw Joe Schmo do it, right? Because that's how he did it and it worked. But when we do these cars, because we don't have a lot of experience in that make or model, we do what we know.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of fun because you get people who are into that certain type of car, and they're like, "Why would you do it that way? Nobody ever does it that way."
You just buy this, and this, and it all works together.
So like all of our builds are kind of rogue a little bit, which makes it fun.
Yeah, it does, and I think it makes them stand out because, I mean, we don't deal with forums anymore, but like back when I would go on the forums for, say, an S chassis or something like that, and even now with Skylines, you look on Instagram and you look at an engine bay, and or even a 2J, they all kind of look very similar because how many ways can you do it differently?
Yeah.
But I can tell you that most of the stuff that leaves here looks pretty different than
everything else.
From
I think
everything
it's fun.
else you really
I think
see.
it's cool.
Which is neat because it allows us to flex the creativity a little bit and some of the qualities that we have here for building things.
100%.
It's fun. That's interesting perspective. I've looked at it from myself, from my own seat before, but never while discussing it with you. So I think that's pretty cool that you kind of feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first project or video that really clicked for you here? Like when you realized I'm doing this and this is being done at a pretty high level?
I want to say it was the 4G build episode.
Oh, really?
I want to say it was that
So
one.
back to that one.
Yeah, so I'd been in a couple episodes before that, but none of them really felt like it had landed in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were just also here, basically, and that was sort of your inroads to
100%. Like it was like helping you guys with the R35 or helping you with the Mustang or helping you with this, but the 4G build was really the first standalone Quinn episode, I guess you would call
because before we would have sent that engine out to D-Sport or somewhere to get built, and it would have come back, we would have bolted it together, fired it up, took it to the dyno, whereas now we had the capability with you on the staff to actually create custom engines in-house.
Yeah, and reading the comments was awesome on that because a lot of people you know, at the beginning, the first couple of videos were like, there's a new guy, that's kind of weird. And then after that video, it was like, all right.
Okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's a good addition to the team.
It felt,
I remember
it felt really good. It felt like I was accepted, if that makes sense.
It's weird that that's what it took. Like, I feel bad from my seat that that's what it took for you to feel accepted here.
No,
I mean internally you were definitely
so
accepted.
Like not being accepted by the staff, but being accepted by
the audience.
Throtl, you know, the culture and the clan and the, you know, everything surrounding the brand, social media wise. I felt like that was the key punch right there for that.
I see. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I remember reading through the comments and going, okay, the kid nailed it. Good job. Yeah, that was good. And that motor, we should say, is still, I mean, let's be honest. All the motors you've built here internally are still operating.
100%.
And the only one that needed sort of a look at was the 2J, and that was just a freak Welch plug incident.
That was a freak Welch plug that popped out. The Eclipse spun a rod bearing. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, that's right, at Verona. So
I was stressing about that because I took that engine apart to find out that the crankshaft had already been repaired on that journal.
Right.
For that.
And so it wasn't
that reason.
any fault of your own.
Yeah. So put a new crank in it and called it a day, and it's been running strong ever since.
I remember that's how we found out about the mythical crank walk.
Yeah, I thought it was crank
Which
walk.
what everybody thought.
Yeah, it was a spun rod bearing because that crank had already been repaired. And the repair was probably fine. When you run the car at stock power, it probably would have lasted forever. But, dude, that thing made 650. That engine put out some power.
And you couldn't really see that coming unless you really...
No, I even set the crank out to get inspected, and they said it was fine. It was only after it was spun did you see the repair marks on the journal.
I remember you bringing that to me to show it to me, and I was like, would have never saw that.
So, it is what it is. Car's dialed in now.
Yeah, and it's with its new owner.
Yep.
So, biggest behind-the-scenes learning curve of working in a YouTube garage?
Slowing down. That was probably the biggest one for me.
Yep.
Because coming from industry tech, it was faster, faster, faster. Get it done, get it out of here. Get it in, get it on the rack, figure out what it needs, sell the ticket, fix it, and get it gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me to come here, and I'm like, I got work to do. I got this, and I need to do. And I'm just going to start jamming. And Nate's like, yo.
Slow down, bro.
Pause. Stop. We need to film this. We need to do that. We need to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I need to get the car done. And he's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
The point is not to get the car done. The point is to make an episode.
Make content.
Yeah, make content around it. If you blast through the car and we don't film anything,
then it's all for
then
nothing.
we don't. Then we don't have an episode.
I
So,
think we all struggle with that, even today. I mean,
100%.
I think we all work at the pace that we need to for YouTube content,
Yeah.
build wise. But I also think that there's a level of I just want to get this done. Like I want to tick the
Yeah.
task off my list, so it needs to get done in a timely fashion. But the reality is we have a deadline, but it's not like the deadlines you were dealing with at the job shop.
Yeah, that and warming up to the camera. I was super shy in the early videos because I wasn't like comfortable yet. You know, when it's me at my house vlogging, I can get comfortable with that because I post it and 110 people see it. But when it's in front of the huge Throtl audience, it was dude. Vic pointed the camera in my face and I was like, ooh. I just like stalled. I was like, okay, hold on. Back it up. What am I saying? I just got pretty nervous.
Yeah, I think that's normal. I think everyone that works in this building went through that in the beginning.
Yeah.
When I started doing it, it was literally I was hand holding a A7, not even A7. I think it was, I can't remember. Tiny little Dustin Williams hand-me-down camera, and
Yeah.
so like you in your garage, I think it was easier for me to sort of break in that way. But showing up here with a channel that's already 1 million+ subscribers,
It's already
whatever,
established. It's, you know.
and
it's-
then
it's a
having an
weird-
actual media guy standing there with a camera in your face while you're trying to do something.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
like
imagine that's
me
intimidating.
at my house with a broken E36 and like some mid camera, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And then I'm standing in front of an R35, and there's a dedicated filmer there for me. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know what that. I was like, okay, but the first few, I was like stiff, man. I was like stiff, and I like didn't.
Yeah.
I was, barely knew how to talk on
It's just
camera.
time,
It was
man.
just-
Just getting
figure it out.
callous to it.
Yep.
You've done that, so you've graduated to being comfortable on camera.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of builds in this shop, and if you guys watch the channel, you've seen us do dream builds, sweepstakes builds, custom builds that are just built for content, and also major, massive SEMA builds. What would you say are your favorite?
Favorite builds we've done?
No, not that we've done. Just like as far as like a type. So like I
Okay.
said, like let's break it down to 4 categories. I kind of just did. So
Yeah.
we've got dream builds, sweepstakes. We've got sweepstakes. So dream builds, if you're not familiar, go to people that submit that are either VIP members or now open to the public. You can submit your bucket to us to basically rebuild on the channel for content purposes, and then you get back a nice running car. Or we do sweepstakes builds, which that's evolved quite a bit in the last year or two, from full on like we've done full on custom builds as sweepstakes cars, and now we've got the we just gave away the G80,
G82.
G82,
and 4.
which is a little bit less of like a full build. It's more of wheels, tires, suspension, and some nice updates to the car. So that's evolved. So that's 2. 3, we do full on custom builds like the 300ZX, which didn't really have a purpose. It was more so just to do a custom build on the channel. And then we have like the full on SEMA builds. So I would say that's like 4 categories,
Yeah.
right?
I'm going to say number 1 is the custom builds, and then number 2 is the sweepstakes cars.
Really?
Yeah, so the custom builds are a lot of fun because we get to really dive into what we want to do with and
Yeah.
set everything up. And I can put an engine together the way I want it to. We can set up the fuel system. And so I do so much learning every time we build a car from the ground up, and just experimenting with different things and trying out different products and setting things up certain ways, or using this bracket kit. And it's really cool because we get to, each build is so different. We're not using the same part to the same vendors necessarily for each car. And on top of that, like working with the team at Granos to set up the car and their drag racing tuner to get launch, you learn so much on how the strategies are and how to set the car up. And even with the Viper, dialing with Penske shocks and setting up the transmission configuration, all that stuff, it's so much fun to learn all that stuff.
I think that's something that we overlook until we sit down and chop it up like we are right now. They're like, when you're in the moment and you're doing that stuff, it just happens. And you're like, well, this needs to get done because there's an end result, right?
Yeah.
And so like jumping on the phone with Penske shocks, that was for me a first, for you a first.
Yeah.
And getting the support from experts that work in that space every day is really cool. And it's not an
so
opportunity
nice.
that a normal
It's so nice.
guy that's working in his garage gets.
Yeah. And then I like getting told I'm wrong, even though
Sure,
that's kind of
because you want to know why.
Yeah, exactly. And then you learn. So I got I got wrecked by a tuner, this guy Kenny, for the 4G63 on the Eclipse when we were setting it up, because I set the fuel system up wrong. And he like ran me through why I did it wrong, how I did it wrong, what I should be looking for. He taught me how to test it, and then I finally went through everything, got it actually right, diagnosed everything, and then the car made 650. So it's like the real growth is like when you're wrong and getting yelled at by these professionals, and then seeing the drag racing strategies, seeing how this needs to be set up, and learning to rewire this for that.
Yeah.
Right? It's so rewarding, because now each build we do after is better than the last.
Yep.
And now it's cool because I can start taking these, and I can like
take what
map
you
out.
learn, these building blocks.
Yeah.
So
So I have like a whole spreadsheet on how I'm going to set my FDRX7 up, because I'm just learning. I'm taking things that I learned on the 300, on the Supra, on the Viper, on your Skyline, on the our Fast and Furious Skyline, all these techniques, and I can start scheming out exactly how I want everything set up. So it's not like I want to build this. It's like I'm going to build this, and here's how I'm going to do it, and here's why I'm implementing it. And you can like plan out the entire build before you even start wrenching on the car, which is really cool.
And I think that goes back to what we already talked about, where because we don't work in a box on the same thing over and over again, you've learned all these different techniques and things from all these different chassis and builds that we've done, and you've collected all the things that stood out to you as one you didn't know, you were wrong or whatever. You've made note of that. And now when you build that FD, it's going to make it that much different than every other FD
I know,
out there.
I'm already scheming stuff that I've never seen on an FD.
Yeah,
for
so
my
that's
car, which
to
is
me
gonna be
that's
fun.
cool, and that's what changes the game. I don't like that
The cookie cutter,
saying.
everybody's got the same setup.
I don't like the saying game changing, because I really don't think there's a lot of things in the automotive world that haven't been done. I don't think the game can really change, but I think the game can be modified.
100%.
And so, when you say that, it really, the light bulb in my head goes off. Like, yeah, we've done that quite a bit on some stuff around here, where because we don't live in that shoebox or that world of just building Skylines or whatever, that
chassis.
we do get creative and do some cool shit that isn't normal.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think that's probably one of the. If I were on a podcast and I were asked a question about that, that would be my favorite thing about working here. It would be like just being able to flex that ability to just adapt and make cool shit out of something that may not exist.
And then the sweepstakes cars are the second. I love doing the sweepstakes cars. One, it's a lot of fun to like give somebody a car, and I love the dream builds as well because of that reason, to see the emotional reaction and the experience with that.
Yeah.
But more so, getting out of my comfort zone really started to happen with the sweepstakes cars, and not so much like working on things, but just experiencing different cars. So like everybody has a category. So mine was like E36s and like kind of rear-wheel drive front engine manual cars in general. But doing the sweepstakes cars really got me in with all these other cars that I'd never had any interest in and experiencing. STIs, Evos, S2000s, even the Civic Type R, and a lot of the cars have surprised me. Like the Civic Type R, the FK8 we did, amazing car. I'd never thought I would like that car ever, because it just doesn't fit the motif of cars I like. It's front engined. It's not, or it's front wheel drive. It's, it's a Civic. It's not something I'm really interested in, because I like rear wheel drive manual cars.
And stylistically, it's a little bit out there, and it took I think that one, until we got that one for me as well, I didn't care for it. And then I drove that, and I was like,
in it.
damn.
And it's the same thing with Evos. Is when you do a sweepstakes car here, for us, we get to live with the car and modify the car and see what that culture is about, see what that scene is about in that car specifically. What are the problems with it? What are the mods with it? And you kind of get to like test own the car for 4 or 5, 6 months to see what it actually be like to own an Evo 10 or an STI or like a 90 Supra or some of the other cars like an R35.
We're kind of fortunate in that way, huh?
Yeah, it's so much fun, and I enjoy that so much.
It's funny because as much of a Skyline nerd as I am, I wasn't a big R35 fan, because when they first came out in 09, I drove one. I was like, it's kind of clunky, kind of shitty, honestly. Like, seems too raw. And I like the old stuff. But then Evan got his, and we did that one.
That car completely changed my mind on R35s. I was not an R35
I
fan.
still wasn't sold on that car, even with you hyping it up when it was done.
So good.
Like, you went in heavy with me, like, I'm getting one of these someday. Like, this thing's the shit. And I'm like, it's all right. But then the second one we did, which that car had its issues that we got through, but like That was the one that sealed the deal for me. Now I
They're
want
so,
935.
I did not like them because, again, it didn't fit my, like, motif. It wasn't a raw rear-wheel drive manual car. It was like this computerized all-wheel drive, you know, with the DCT. And I was like, I'd rather have a third pedal. And then I drove it, and I was like,
I get it.
I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, I think the problem with that, and the reason people have a hard time expanding out of the group, like you start with STIs, you stay with Subarus, you start with Hondas, you know, you look for what you like in other cars. You know, you look at like an R35 and you're like, oh, it's not a manual, it's not rear-wheel drive, it's not this. But like you need to be able to open your palette and go experience
Just go
the
experience
car.
it, yeah.
You know, I like E36s because they're raw and they're, you know, rear-wheel drive, and you know, you get it wrong, you spin the car out, and it's super attached to everything, and it's super mechanical. Looking for that in an R35 is the worst way to go about.
You're not
going to
get it.
car. You're not going to get it,
Yeah.
and so then you don't like the car. But like the R35 is refined. It's fast. It's so smooth. It's so powerful, and it's just a totally different driving experience. And doing the sweepstakes cars allowed me to figure that. Like I love Evos, Evo 10s, Evo 9s, Evo 8s.
Evo
They're
5s.
so much fun to drive, and I'd never driven one. I didn't like them to begin with, so it's just one of the aspects of my job that I like so much. And we do the most random cars for sweepstakes cars, and like doing the S2000 was a ton of fun. That one was really cool. We did a motor build, turboed it. It's just a car
The
I'd never.
S2000?
Yeah, that's just a car I'd never
forgot
had
about
interested
that
in
one.
owning. So my friend had an S2000 when I was in high school and college, and my M3, I set it up so that I would beat him. So I was like, oh, I already have a better car. Why
That
would
was
I
your
ever want-
rival.
Yeah, like why would I ever want an S2000? And then we did ours. I was like, this thing is great, man. It's so much fun. I just didn't get it at the time.
They're just really great cars. I forgot about that one. That was a really neat one because it was like Suzuka blue and it had the cool interior, and we built the custom hardtop for it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. We gave that one away, and it just kind of went off into the ether.
Yeah,
and I never heard about it
rebuilt
again.
the engine. We did a turbo
Yeah.
on it.
Turbo
Thing was
kit from
great.
Andretti, which was 50 state legal.
So freaking good. Such a good car.
All right, well, let's move on. What's the hardest or most chaotic shoot that you've ever been involved in?
Shoot, like film shoot?
Yeah.
Oh, banging gears.
Really?
Yeah.
So
That
I
was
guess we have to set
hectic.
the stage for that, right?
I don't know
Because-
if you do you even want to get into that whole.
No, I think we should. We've got
Okay.
time,
All right,
and
fair enough. It was a ton of fun, but like, man, it was kind of a mess.
we need to
at
set the
same
stage.
time. Okay.
So if you guys aren't familiar, a couple years ago, some producer came up with the concept of filming a TV show called Banging Gears. I was reached out to by a friend of mine who was also an influencer who was asked to drive a car in the show. He was from Australia. He didn't have a car. They also reached out to Evan here at Throtl from a different angle and wanted us to provide a car to race in Banging Gears. Now, the premise was pitting influencers versus car builders versus OEM, kind of.
I think the main thing was imports versus exotics,
And-
or
and
like
at the
tuner
end-
cars versus
yeah.
exotics.
From a high level, it was imports versus exotics. So, or imports versus domestics. Yeah, I think they kind of pitted different genres versus each other. Well, long story short, halfway through the filming, we got our super out there. We got it set up we had to go in a drag race, and we had to go in a circuit race, right? And
Yep.
put down a hot lap on the circuit, put down the fastest drag pass we could, and then you see if you won against your rival that you were pitted against. So fast forward, halfway through the filming, which was a 2-week stint, week in, they found out that the guy who organized the show was basically running up an investor's credit card, and they didn't find out till an exotic car got crashed on the racetrack that was rented.
Yeah, they
And
rented a car.
The rental exotic, if you've ever rented an exotic or any car for that matter, you write in the contract, it says you cannot
take it onto a
take it on a
racetrack.
racetrack, and the driver must be over 25 years old. Well, they broke both of those rules. Yeah, we don't want to get into details.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah,
But at any rate, the reason why the whistle got blown was because the rental car agency, I think, charged like $300,000 or something to this guy's credit card, and all of a
pay for
sudden
the car.
the red
Yep.
flag went off. Like, whoa, why is
going
my card
here?
on it?
Yep.
Well, I'm told that's the story, and at the end of the day, the filming never saw the light of day. So there's all this footage out there. We prepared 2 cars for the show in a hurry.
There were a lot of other influencers
And,
who were out there too.
It actually was a brilliant idea and brilliant concept. I think it would have done really well. It was supposedly going to be on Netflix.
I hope it shows up someday.
So I'm told at this point that the gentleman who was scammed owns all the footage now, and he has it.
Oh,
And
does he?
apparently, it plays in his showroom at his facility.
Gnarly.
Some of the footage.
That's
So
kind of cool.
I just found out about this last week, which is interesting. And I don't know, like, I don't want to be on the record saying this, but I want to say that this was all hearsay that was told to me over the phone. But it's a neat thing that we went through because we knocked out a couple really cool cars for the project.
Yeah.
We learned a lot, and also it could be a Netflix show in and of itself. What went down, how it happened.
Man,
if
that
they
would
went
be
back and interviewed all the influencers,
100%, that'd be so great.
and then
Yeah.
told almost like that concert that never happened.
Yeah.
Like a show like that. I know the name of it. I don't want to mention it because I'm not sure if there's any legalities to it, but it'd be interesting to tell the story on camera.
Yeah, but like the whole experience, start to finish, was wild.
Chaotic.
It's getting the Supra ready, getting your car ready. We're building your car till 2, 3 in the morning. We go to Banging Gears with the Supra, and your car's still not done. And like he's finishing the car over here while we're running the Supra, and then we had issues with the Supra when we were on track. We ripped the wiring harness out of the fender well
in the first turn.
We're like, oh man! And then getting that thing done, getting it back up running, and like it was so freaking cold at the track when we were there in the morning. And there's like rumors about what's going on with the, the high level of this.
Yeah.
Just the whole operation. And we were in Vegas for like a month. Just the whole everything.
Yeah.
Building the cars, going out there, filming it. It was wild.
It was fun. I mean, honestly,
I had a blast.
Preparing both cars was cool. So just so you understand, like Quinn and I were working on the Supra during the day between, let's call it 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, whatever. And then after hours, we would dip over to TJ's new shop. It was when TJ was just moving into the new space in our shop, which he's no longer in. He allowed me to use the first lift that he installed so we could get this car done. We literally built my R32 GTR. Came out of the paint shop, and we built it in, was it 9 days or something? 12 days?
It was 12 or 13 days. But like,
so we were like basically working around the clock. And, the Supra did well. We couldn't have guessed that was going to happen under suspension load. Like, we learned the hard way that car needed some refining. My R32 GTR did fantastic out there. It was one of the faster imports on the circuit track and did well in the drag race as well. Shout out to Andrew Hawkins for cutting the light on the drag strip.
Amen.
But yeah, I can agree with you, man. That was definitely one of the top most chaotic things for me and enjoyable things that we've done here. Unfortunately, the world's never going to see it. I don't think.
Yeah. It was so like we would get here at 9:30, work on the Supra all day, and then go over, work on your car.
You built my engine
2 a.m. Yeah,
in that time as well.
We built it. That was on the channel,
which is actually on the channel. So that was a whole other leaf to that book.
So and then we had issues with the Supra, then we had issues with your car, and like you remember the oil gallery you forgot to plug on the block, and like
it's like 2 in the morning, and I'm tapping a steel rod through the oil gallery in the block.
Yeah, it was like
block it.
Freaking 13th hour. We're like trying to get the car done. I forget who was I think we were trying to get it fired up, and we were cranking it. And I'm like, got my arm under something, checking, I think, a timing light or messing with something.
Yep.
And I feel oil on my arm. I'm like, where is this oil coming from? And then I'm like tracking it. I'm like, I can't see anything. It's under the intake manifold. Why is there oil? It was coming out of the thermostat housing. We had filled the coolant galleries in the engine block up with freaking engine oil. And we're like, what the
mind you, this is like
going on with this
1
engine?
o'clock in the morning.
Dude, so we like pull the head off. We like pull the engine completely back out of the car. And that thing, if that wasn't an issue, it would have fired up in like 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And it's so funny.
I remember
such a mess.
At that
like,
time of the morning.
I have a picture of like you like staring at the engine. And you're like, dude, you're so over it.
We should put that on screen.
And Rob is
if you can find it.
I think Rob is in it. I think he's looking at it. And Gregos is just giving me like the most like jaded look ever.
But honestly, some of the best times.
Oh yeah.
Like just thrashing.
Everyone was so over it. It was like 2 a.m. We were eating like Taco Bell. It was so much fun.
I literally came into the fab shop over here and found a steel rod that was just in our fab rack of like extra materials, and it happened to be the exact diameter, everything we needed to just punch a block or a block off into that oil gallery.
Such a mess, but so much fun.
At like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, so good. Everyone was so over it.
So for me, like if I were to ask myself that same question, I think I would say the Roadkill Nights.
Roadkill Nights?
Getting the Viper ready, because that was when Will was still here.
Yeah.
And we had to like get that red-eye engine into a Viper that had never been done before. Get it wired with all their ECM and all the stuff that came with the bolt-in engine kit.
100%.
There was a lot of work, but it was cool because it was the four of us all just thrashing on it.
Yeah, the Viper is probably one of my favorite throttle cars of all time.
Agreed. And still to this
Top
day.
5.
And not the nicest car we've built, but easily one of the coolest just because of what we pulled off. And I think for me, the icing on the cake with that one was seeing Jim Farley? What was his name? The president and CEO of Dodge at the time.
Kaniskis.
Sorry, Tim Kaniskis. Tim Kaniskis.
Kaniskis.
Yeah, Jim Farley's at Ford. Sorry. Sitting in the car, like walking over, taking the time out of his day with all his people there at that event, sitting in the car and saying,
blown away. Yeah.
wow, I can't believe you guys got this in here. And we were
So
like, oh,
good.
actually, we did it in like 3 days, bro.
That was
And
fun.
it's fast.
And yeah, thing boogies. It gets down. I mean, for like a high level drag car, it's not the best, but for what it is, man, that thing rips. That's the scariest car I've ever driven still to this day.
Really?
Is that Viper.
Think so?
Yeah.
Damn.
Rowdy,
That's saying a lot.
man.
Yeah, that thing's hectic. The Freak's pretty up there, though, for me.
100%.
But I haven't also launched the Viper, so.
No, you got to drive the
I've never
Viper.
even been in the Viper.
You got to drive it.
Yeah.
We got to take it out to the track.
I'd
and
be
you gotta
down to
drive
go
it.
for a passenger seat ride and then.
It's
Because
a
I
lot.
imagine it's like anything else. When you're in the passenger seat, it's probably scarier.
Yeah, and
than when
just
you're driving.
knowing people totaled those things at 350 or 400 horsepower,
And you're making
like
3
sitting
times
at the
that.
line, it's making like 1100. You're like, I hope this goes well.
Yeah. Hopefully the front tires don't come too far off the pavement so I can still steer this thing.
Yeah, it's a blast to drive. It's a blast to drive.
So we've talked a lot about cars. Do you have any hobbies that people might not know about that you do that kind of calm you or keep you interested in cars, basically? Something to set your mind off in a different direction?
Not necessarily.
No?
I think cars take up a majority of my time. I have 5 chickens now, or 4 chickens now, so that's pretty nice. And
This
I've
is
been-
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, been working on my house, like getting everything looking nice and refinishing
Yeah.
it, all that
So,
stuff. So
doing
but I
like-
wouldn't consider that a hobby. That's more of like just kind of
That's life
nice
stuff.
life stuff, nice living. Yeah, it's nice to have chickens because you just have fresh eggs all the time, and
Jealous.
yeah.
Especially at the rate eggs cost these days.
I know I have 3 for breakfast like every day. So just going out there and picking them out, and they have a lot
Damn.
of character, man.
I gotta
Chickens
ask,
are wild.
does like a fresh egg in the morning taste different than the one you buy at the store?
They do, yeah.
Really?
I got to bring you some.
Oh,
they
dude,
taste,
I had no
they
idea.
taste so much more. Like the flavor is so much more. It's like twice as much flavor.
Damn.
Even though they're like compact.
So
they're,
lem-
like smaller.
Let me ask you this. So I guess like getting a fillet well done, is it like a faux pas to hard boil a fresh chicken egg?
No, I don't like hard boiled eggs.
Okay. So you wouldn't know.
No.
But
I
it-
haven't hard boiled them. I never was into hard boiled eggs.
Are you into any like chicken YouTubes or anything like that?
No.
Like there's no information out there that you need to learn about chickens. You don't go looking for it on YouTube or anything.
No,
like that?
not on YouTube. I mean, they're pretty straightforward to take care of.
Is it like owning a cat or a dog, basically?
a
just
little
outside?
bit more? Yeah, pretty much. A little bit more maintenance than like a cat.
Can you tell if
Yeah.
I've never owned a chicken before?
No, yeah.
I'm, like,
it's-
very
it's pretty
curious.
dude, they're freaking quirky little animals. So we have one of them keeps escaping. So we have like this pen, and we used to just let them run around in our backyard. We just open the little chicken coop, and they just run around in the backyard all day. And then, at the end of the night, they tuck themselves away. They'll like all go back in and sleep in their little coop, and you just go
Okay.
in and shut the door. We had one chicken who got out in the morning, and he got smoked by a hawk. That's
No
That's
way.
why I said 5 initially, but now we have 4 because one of them
He gone?
He got grabbed.
Did
Just a
you
tuft-
see it?
No, but I go out and there's just a tuft of feathers in the backyard, and there's no chicken, and there's no like if a rat or a coyote, or not a rat, like a cat or a coyote
Yeah.
had dragged him off, there would have been like trails
Yeah.
going up the hill, but it was just like a big tuft of feathers, and then it just came down, grabbed him, and bounced. So we're like, all right, so we need to contain him. So we built a like a little bit of a chicken run where these guys can just kind of, you let them out of the coop and they can run in the run, and you don't have to worry about them going too far and getting picked off.
You make them like a fence run?
Yeah, essentially. So we
okay.
have one that's like, it's like 8 feet up.
Protected,
But
yeah.
chickens fly, man. Like
Yeah.
we
they
have
don't
one
fly
chicken.
in the respect of like a regular bird, but they like
See,
kind of.
we had so ours is like 7-8 feet, and we had this one chicken that kept getting out every morning. We'd let the chickens out, and then like 2 hours later, this fool is like outside of the fence running around,
fixing to get
You gotta
taken by
go.
a hawk.
Yeah, so we figured out like, oh, he's probably climbing this tree and then jumping the fence. But I was out there and I watched this fool at ground level jump, fly like 8 feet up over the fence and land.
Damn.
So we're like, all right, we got to fence the top in. So now
Yeah.
we have like a coop and like a bigger coop that's like fully enclosed.
Should name him like
It's
LeBron or
crazy,
MJ or
yeah.
something. Dude's got hops.
So funny. But yeah, you go outside, they all like run up to you. If you like put your hand out, they'll like kind of squat because they want to get pet.
Yeah.
They're so,
Damn.
I didn't know
It's
they have
a-
like
like a
personality.
domesticated animal.
Yeah.
That's
They're so
crazy.
funny.
So let's get back into cars a little bit here. That's very interesting. I've never owned anything other than a cat or a dog. So, well, I guess I've had fish, but those are all pretty mundane.
I used to have ferrets.
Ferrets.
Those are fun.
Yeah,
little
that's cool. It's
weasels.
kind of a mix between a dog and a cat. huh?
Yeah, they're kind of a mess because they just like try and get everywhere. They will like find the smallest, and they steal things. They steal socks. They steal pens. They
Yeah.
just they'll see them like running around the house, dragging something larger than them. But they also like to like weasel in. So if you have like a crack,
Oh, they'll
like I
hide
remember-
in there.
yeah, they'll like squeeze themselves. If they can fit their head in there, they can fit the rest of their body in
Mhm.
there. So we had a kitchen sink that had like a little bit of a slit between the paneling.
Oh, gap.
And
Yeah.
the ferret would just like go in there, and then we'd have to like take the freaking cabinet apart to get the ferret out and all that stuff.
Yeah. You knew where he was right away. Huh?
Yeah, so you
After
gotta
the
like
first
you gotta
time.
like keep an eye on them, and they smell, which is not fun.
I've been
But-
told that. I've never knew anybody that had them, but I've been told that they have some odor.
Yeah, they do, but
Like-
they're so cuddly. They like I used to sleep, and they would just like lay across my neck like
That's
a
gotta be
scarf.
pretty
and just
cool.
like yeah, they're so cute and they're so much fun. But like when they get into a deep sleep, it feels like they're dead. Like you can move them.
Oh,
and they're,
wow.
like completely
They're just, like-
unresponsive. So it's a little like I had sleeping on my neck once, and I like got up, and like he just like
Rolled off.
ragdolled. And I was like, oh what? And then you kind of shake them for a bit, and then they're like, all right, we're back.
Damn, he was
Just
out.
a little scared. I was
He's
like, oh my God.
Sound
I was like-
asleep.
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, ferrets are great though. I want to get a ferret and a kitten, like
Oh my
at the
God.
same time, and like have them.
That would be
A lot
hectic.
of fun.
They probably tear shit up.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So back to cars. How do you see the car scene evolving with EVs and basically just the new generation of car owner and social media, like all that coming into play into one world of vehicles? I mean, it's tough for me to even imagine, so I know that's a tough question, but so EVs, social media content, and the new generation of car owners, like young youth ownership.
I don't know. I feel like we're just gonna keep getting faster and faster cars. I
Yeah.
think it's
The hybrid stuff,
Yeah.
you mean?
100%. Yeah, all the hybrid stuff kind of coming together, and I think more people like Will are learning how to weaponize that and
Yeah.
bring the cars that we care about
Yeah.
into that realm. And I think everything's just going to get like wicked fast and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
hoping like EV swap prices come down, so then you can start integrating those more into, you know, because people who are
It's the
like
limiting
converting to
factor,
EV
right?
stuff is like a really expensive deal to do.
Mm-hmm.
And every year at SEMA, I'm looking at what EV technology is coming out to
Mm-hmm.
be able to like, all right, can I start planning on implementing this, or is it going to be 60 grand to swap a car
Yeah.
no matter what?
The
'Cause it was a
hardware
lot of
is-
fun, man. The 350 that we did was so much fun to drive. It was such a weird car. And it was so cool. So I love the EV swapping stuff. I don't think motors are going away anytime soon.
No.
It seems like governments are starting to pull back on their like EV mandate now. I saw like a Jalopnik article on the Europe. They're like working on pulling something back. So
Really? Europe is.
yeah, it was
I didn't
something
see
like that. It was one
So,
of those.
you know, now
but
here, there's really no benefit to it anymore. You used to get a tax credit and all this
Yeah.
stuff, like when you bought one. And now it's like, you don't get anything. You don't get carpool access. You don't get the tax credit. Like, they've stopped
Yeah.
all that. So, like,
I
why have it?
I think there's going to start to be a much more clear line between the like disposable cars and the cars that are like
Yeah.
staying.
And, I mean, not to get into current events, because this is going to live on YouTube, but this week, Trump just took tariffs off of K cars coming from out of country.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which, from a new car, I think it's from a new car standpoint, not a, I don't know if it
like
applies
a K truck
to
or
like the
a
older
Ackie.
stuff,
Yeah.
like are getting imported, but from the standpoint of an automotive manufacturer like Toyota, who's already making a $14,000 pickup truck that's only available in Thailand, Singapore, and those areas, that's a perfect truck for American business people that can be turned into an ice cream truck, a freaking camper, a utility vehicle with flip down sides. Like, it's so versatile, and it's 14 grand brand new. Like, why do we not have that in America?
100%. They're great.
And
they're great little cars. It'd be so cool to see them around. I was just hoping I was going to get a cappuccino for cheaper, but I guess that's not going to happen.
I don't know. Well, they're going up in price regardless. But
do they make new ones?
No, I mean, Suzuki has. Well, look, there's the Honda S660, which probably is better than the cappuccino.
And that's like a new.
But it's new, and you won't be able to have it for 25 years when it's old technology. And that's the crummy part about these laws. But back to the K thing, I think that's pretty cool, and it will help revolutionize what the car culture looks like in the future. But I agree with you. I think the future is keeping cars with internal combustion engines and adding an electric component that allows it to accelerate quicker off the line and stuff, but then transition into the internal combustion motor.
If somebody can figure out how to like start producing front drive units to swap into normal cars,
it's already in the works, dude.
Yeah.
You
do something like a 1,000 horsepower Supra with a front drive unit in it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weapon.
And I mean,
absolute weapon.
Yeah. I mean, the supercar manufacturers are already doing it. So it's just trickle down. Like, how soon is it going to be available for a normal car, and when it will be affordable?
I saw an article on the Toyota, what is it? The GT1 or something, whatever that is. It's 650 horsepower hybrid. It's
going to be that same setup, right? So at what point does that become available to hot rodders?
Exactly.
Like modern hot rods. I mean, and it's not cost prohibitive. So like you said, like when we did the 350Z with the Tesla drivetrain, had we paid retail money for all that equipment, that would have been a $250,000 car.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And then we started with a bucket of a chassis that was like $2,000, I think, or something stupid. And
it's just not a realistic thing to build.
It's not. And then you have the teething issues of all the componentry because it's new technology, and you've got a third party making technology that only the OEMs have made perfect so far.
Yep.
Perfect. There's still problems. So like having these third party small shops making your battery management systems and stuff like that, there's going to be problems. And we ran into problems with that car. I think Will still has that car. Actually, the guy that bought it from Throtl brought it back to Will, and he's doing some updates on it, adding air conditioning, adding some stuff. But I think every day that goes by, the stuff gets better, and I'll be curious to see as well, like what that looks like for the future of hot rodding.
I think it's so cool, the EV swap, and just seeing all the cars that they're doing, and actually bringing cars that weren't really good at all and making them like proper, good functioning, working cars.
Yeah.
And they're like
refined.
Their performance is so much better than what they were even like the day they were new. So I think it's a easy way to spin new technology into old cars that initially were not good at all.
Right. And eventually those would go away if we're not making these upgrades or changes to the drivetrain.
It just makes it like a usable, like something like the Volkswagen bus that Will did.
Yeah.
Like buses are cool, but you can't use one as a daily driver anymore. You can't actually
they don't even get up to speed.
Yeah, you can't even use one as an actual practical car these days because it's not high performing enough. It's not fast enough. It's not, efficient enough. It's not reliable enough. But you do something like an EV swap, and now it is. And now you can legitimately have that as your car that you use. It doesn't have to be like this stored in the garage until the weekend fun car. It's like you can actually just go out and use it.
Yeah, that's exciting to me too. Seeing some of these cars be used a little bit more than just sit and rot away, because they're just, when you see one of those vans on the road on the freeway, typically you see a sticker on the back that says something funny about like I'm going as fast as I can or whatever, or top speed 55 miles an hour.
Imagine having your doors blown off at 120 by a bus. You got all like a 60s. Go, no noise.
And no noise. It just moves like that. All right, so what about today's car scene makes you miss things from the past? Is there like one thing that you think could come back and still be like would make the car scene more enjoyable for you?
Oh yeah, OG car meets.
Yeah.
Car meets like 2012, 2013. I miss those.
You mean like without all the shithead donut and stuff afterwards?
Dude, I used to go to car meets all the time, and now I don't go to them anymore just because it's not worth it. It's such a flex contest.
Yeah.
You got to have the biggest this, or you got to have the better one, or like you're not on real wheels, or like you know people doing donuts or revving or being loud, and it's just like not the look anymore. But like back then, it wasn't like that. It was like, yo, you're into cars too. That's so sick. Like.
And it doesn't matter what you're driving.
Yeah, you know, people were doing hack things, and it was like, oh, that's so cool. I've never seen that before. And now you're like, that's the most hack thing I've ever seen. Why would you even bring that?
Yeah.
And it's just like the mindset of the meets. Back then, it was so much different, and so, you know, I miss that.
Do you feel like maybe it was just because you were more innocent back then and maybe didn't know as much as you know now?
That's possibly an aspect of it. But
like, I'm sure, like, I know I find myself guilty of looking at people's builds and like, I would have done that differently. He should have done this. And, you know, it's not my place to speak up about that, but I do have those thoughts.
I think that's
everyone
an aspect
does.
Of it.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think I'm partly at fault for that too. But at the same time, like, thinking about the car meets back then, like, I don't remember people doing donuts. I don't remember people being loud. I don't remember, like, cops rolling up and telling people to get out. I don't remember, like, rowdy people, like, sprinting across the parking lot trying to get a clip of some guy who's doing a freaking burnout
in the middle of the lot.
It was everyone showed up, everyone looked at it, you caught up with old people that you knew, old friends, and looked at some cool cars, and then you went home, and that was it. Yeah, you know, did some photo shoots, bought some stickers, but it wasn't like a rowdy.
I just can't believe that ship sailed. I mean, so we live kind of in a bubble here in San Diego. But I can tell you the car culture here, maybe we get into this a little bit. The car culture here has changed even in the last year.
Yeah.
Like dramatically with police presence and enforcement, warranted or not, I think has changed a lot of the car culture here. We live in a space, I guess the world we live in, there's a lot of cars that are here from overseas or whatever, have been brought in and are being registered out of state for obvious reason, or they're just not passing the car checks here in California. But people want to enjoy the hobby, so they do it anyway.
Yeah.
Cracking down on a lot of that. So I think a lot of people are kind of scared to enjoy car culture right now.
I would agree with that, but I'd also disagree with that because I feel like car culture is more rowdy than it ever was from the street side. And I think social media isn't helping with that. People posting about
the publicity of it,
takeover and all that stuff, and people want to emulate that when they go to an actual car meet. If that makes sense. And
it puts a filter on the car scene that, you know, when a law enforcement person takes a step back and just flips through Instagram, it looks like helter skelter. And it looks like
it's not
really bad shit. You know. But the majority of what's happening in the car scene is not that.
It's not.
That's like the 2%, right? And so now they're making task forces to utilize government funds to crack down on stuff that's not happening. So then there's this whole, well, I want to make my overtime and work on this task force, so we need to go make some arrests. And show the state that this is still happening and this needs to stay in place. And the reality is it's not. And so you've just got a witch hunt for anything that they can find.
Start taking down people who aren't doing anything.
And throw the book at guys that are just trying to enjoy a hobby. And I think that's what we're seeing today in San Diego. I don't know about the rest of the state or the country in general, but it's sad, honestly. Like I want to enjoy cars. As do you, I assume, and it just makes it more difficult to want to go out and do something for fear of being pigeonholed into something you're not.
Yeah, it does. I feel like I've transitioned a lot the last 5-6 years to going from like car meets to trying to attend track events and like take it to the track, you know, because
that's
you can
good.
Do what you want to do and drive your car how you want to drive. If you want to do donuts, go do donuts. Go to the track. You don't have to do it on the street and like ruin it for everybody else.
And man,
just the more I started going to the track, the less I wanted to go to normal car meets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's different to go to a driving event versus park up and chat. But I will say that like California, again, and a lot of you guys aren't living in California, but I don't know what's happening in other states. So in California, all of our tracks are closing. So where are you going to go do that, dude? Like, they want us to keep it off the streets, but yet they pass bills to sell the tracks to housing tracts and malls and Chinese investors and all these people that want to buy these lands out in the middle of nowhere and turn them into developments and stuff. And then they get mad when people go street racing. And it's like, okay, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, shoot yourself in the foot, kind of.
So it sucks. I mean, for us in San Diego, our closest track is 3 hours away. That's a shame. So if you've ever done a track day, you got to be there at 8.
It's hard to get out.
7 or 8. So you're up at 4 in the morning to get your car loaded and leave. Then you go there and you race your car all day and you're tired. You got to drive that. You got to load your car onto the trailer, put everything away, and then drive back. It just makes for almost kind of a miserable day, honestly.
Yeah. I used to go to Adams Motorsport Park and do drift nights.
A little go-kart track.
Like twice. I think it was twice a month. But
yeah.
They shut that down. They stopped drifting there because people kept hitting the fence.
The divider fence?
Yeah, the fence.
Yeah, everybody would
manji and get it wrong and then just pile the fence in. So they were replacing the fence like every time they would do a drift night, and so they eventually just shut it down.
They should just have a fence replacement fee every time it gets hit.
That's the thing is they did though. So they were charging $600, $700, $800 for every like section of pole that you hit. So you'd hit it and you would pay for it, and probably the track ended up making money, but it's just like I don't know why they shut it down. They just get tired of paying the same guy to fix the fence twice a month. But it was a great track. The track was so much fun. And it wasn't even that far. From North County, it was probably, an hour?
Yeah.
Hour 10?
Yeah,
now
it's not bad.
Now you got to go up to AVS or Willow. And that's like
So I drove to AVS this week from Oceanside, which is near where you are. And it took me 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Yeah, so it's like, it feels way farther than the drive time would suggest.
So I kind of lied, but I didn't. So our nearest track is actually 3 hours from San Diego, but AVS is not a normal track. It was an old go-kart track called Grange that they repaved wider so that you could drive a full-size car on it.
It's a drift track.
It's a drift track.
It's not a proper track like Willow or Laguna Seca.
You're not going to go there and grip really in a full-size car.
Yeah, that's second gear.
It's not what it's made for.
Yeah, run up is third, but like Big Willow or Laguna, you're flying.
And should we even get into drag racing? Because it's literally the closest track is what, Pomona or Vegas?
Quarter mile. Yeah, we have Verona, which is 50 minutes, 40 minutes.
And so Verona is our local track, right? So and it's nothing to write home about, but it is a local track. And
I'm proud of our little track.
I am too. I love Verona. I'm there a lot, and we have taken the cars there, and they've been gracious enough to let us put down skid marks in the parking lots and stuff like that, and use all of the facility when it is strictly an 8th mile drag course. But they do have some pavement there. We need to lean on them a little bit, I think. And
I've been trying to get them to set up a drift track.
A nice skid pad even would be
beautiful skid pad.
Would be nice because we can just put some cones out and make our own courses and stuff. So that's definitely food for thought for future. But let's get back on track here. I'm sorry, that was my fault. I wanted to talk about car culture, and I think we could probably do a whole podcast about that with a group, which would be kind of a cool episode. So if you guys think that's neat and something you guys would want to chat about or leave comments about, let us know, and maybe I'll put that together for the future. Quinn, do you have any advice for younger enthusiasts that want to get into building cars or even just content creation around cars?
I'm not the most talented when it comes to content creation. That's still a realm I'm working on getting good at.
And by content creation, you're speaking in general about like Instagram Reels and things like that.
Reels,
more so than
making
YouTube episodes.
So I'm still learning. I think I'm forever learning about that and how to create content. But the main one is just do it. You just gotta go do it.
Yeah.
Whether it's YouTube or Instagram, like the first couple of reels you make, the first couple of videos you make are gonna be probably not very good.
Dude, I still make terrible content.
Yeah. So, and I make content every now and then that's pretty not great either. But you make
it, you sit back and watch it like,
you just gotta keep going.
It's cheesy.
Yeah. And then working on cars, if you want to get good, the main thing is just learn
reps
and keep repetition. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep working on it. The more time you do it, the better you're gonna get. That was kind of the philosophy that I approached with when learning to work on cars, was just do it and keep doing it and just stay in the zone. And if you do it long enough times, you'll get good at it.
Yeah. One thing that I've learned recently as I've gotten older is to don't be in a rush. Like a lot of times, I don't know why car projects just seem like, especially when I'm in my own garage, I'm like, oh, I got to get this done. I got to hurry. I got to knock this out because I got to get home for dinner, or I got something else I got to do. And I always rush through things. And for me, it's just, just know what you need to do. Go in there and take your time. Even if it takes 2 days, like hopefully it's not your daily driver you're working on. and you have time. For me, I need to like slow down, think about it a little bit, and do a really good job versus just get it done because you need to get it done. It's like we do that here. We slow down and we do things right. And then I go to my own workshop and I'm like, hurry up. I got to act this out.
Hurry up and slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, let's cap this off, dude. Lately, in the last few episodes, I've been doing a rapid fire round at the end, and I've prepared a few that I would like you just to listen to the question and tell me what you like.
Okay.
Okay, so as quick as possible.
Okay.
Favorite car of all time?
E36 M3.
Best road trip song?
Top Gun, whatever the Top Gun song is.
Damn,
Highway.
Top Gun theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danger Zone.
Dream collab, car builder, or influencer?
Mickey Andrew. R32 Skyline GTR.
No. I appreciate that. But, you're talking about in the future or what we've done in the past? This is like a future.
Oh, future?
Yeah, like if you could collab
Ooh.
with any builder or influencer, who would it be?
I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that one.
Okay, that's fair. One car you'd never sell.
My RX-7.
Damn, that wasn't what I thought you were going to say. Manual or sequential gearbox?
Sequential.
Coffee before or after garage time?
Both.
Same. So, manual or sequential? That question was meant to be manual or automatic, but I changed it because I think automatic's kind of...
Yeah, that's an easy
No one's
question.
ever going to pick that.
Sequential is so good, man.
Yeah.
After you drive one, after you
And
experience
you realize
it,
what it's capable of.
it's not even fair.
And how
it's
buff
so
it is.
Good. It's the ultimate, like, DCT is like the ultimate automatic. Sequential is the ultimate manual.
Yeah, dude, that is a great way to put it. There's like
Yeah.
this ongoing feud in this Skyline group I'm in that are sequentials manual gearboxes. And there's most people say they aren't. And there's a faction of us that say they are because there's a clutch pedal.
If I can push the clutch in and pull the handbrake, it's manual.
It's a manual.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're on that team, and that's the team I'm on as well as Sean Morris and a few other guys that are like OG dudes, and like there's a whole faction of guys in that group that are like it's cheating. It's not.
It is cheating.
It's not
totally
a manual.
Cheating. Yeah, it's not an H
But
pattern
we're not
manual.
talking about cheating.
Yeah.
We're talking about
do
is
I,
it a
do
manual
I,
or not?
okay, so that's another question. Is like if you have a sequential, should you be counted as like manual drag cars? I think that's a good debate.
And I think that's where that debate stems from because most
I
of these
agree with
guys
that,
are drag
but,
guys.
Like, logically, is it a manual? Yes, because if you have to use the clutch to get the car moving, then I consider it a manual.
Sure.
In my opinion.
I agree.
Whether or not it's fair in drag racing because you have flat shift, you can't miss gears. I think that's another question. I think sequential should probably have its own bracket. You know, you have H pattern manual and then you have sequential manual. I think that's how, you know, because if you have like the fastest H pattern car, but you're running a quarter of a second and an eighth or the quarter slower than a sequential car, then obviously it's playing a huge difference.
That's just the gates. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's interesting.
there should be an H pattern.
There should be a
record and
class
sequential.
probably.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the Aussies, I watch a lot of Aussie drag racing and they do break it down verbally that way. Like, oh, I have the world's fastest H pattern Skyline GTR.
Yeah.
Or I
and
have the
think
world's
that's how it
fastest
should be.
sequential.
Yeah.
But they're both manual at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So who has the fastest manual? It's typically going to be the sequential guy, right? So
True.
I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think it needs to be its own category.
I want to get one from RX-7. That was so good. I fell in love with your PPG box. That was so good.
Honestly, like I was with the boys from PPG at GTR Festival a couple weekends ago, and we were just chatting. And in the back of my head, my thoughts started wandering, and I'm like, oh, maybe I need to get one of these for one of my other cars as well. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, that was the most expensive car part I ever bought. And I don't regret it. That's the thing. Like initially when I saw it deduct from my bank account, I was like, ooh. But once you put it in the car and you experience it, it's like, oh shit.
So
I want
good.
this in every car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about standalone ECUs.
Yeah.
When I was when I first saw them, I was like, dude, those are so expensive. And then after playing with them here, you're like, these things are so capable.
It just takes your world and opens it up.
They're also so easy. They're so easy to use. They're so easy to diagnose, so easy to figure out, and there's support everywhere. And it's just like complete game changer.
Yeah.
Complete game changer.
It's open source for your car,
Yeah.
basically. And that's the thing. Like, I think the sequential debate and the just to do or not to do is far larger than an ECU.
Yeah.
ECU is like a no-brainer
Yeah, 100%.
because now with CAN and everything, your car on a standalone can do everything your car could do with a standard ECU and more.
Yep.
Versus a sequential is kind of like, do you really want to daily a car with a sequential?
I wouldn't daily one.
Yeah.
I would not.
You can.
That's the problem is you can't make one with normal synchros.
Right.
So
You've
then
got
you have the big dog rocking gearbox.
straight cut gears.
And it's ridiculous. Like taxing one of those around is brutal. Once you're on the highway or whatever, then you're fine. But like, dude, getting stuck in traffic with that would be
I've done it.
worst.
It sucks. I got
sucks.
stuck in an hour's worth of traffic on the freeway, and I'm like, first of all, you got a heavy ass clutch because you're driving a car that's meant to be raced.
Freaking 3-disc, triple disc.
Yeah, and every time you clunk it into first gear, you're like, fuck. It's just wear and tear on the dogs. It's just
I wouldn't put one in a daily driver.
It's
but
not ideal.
For a race car, insane. So good.
Yeah. Andrew Hawkins would argue that it's totally dailyable, and it is, but it's not tolerable.
Just because you can daily drive it
doesn't mean you should.
doesn't mean that it's a daily or a street car. You could drive anything on the street every day if you were ignorant enough.
It just matters what your tolerance level is, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And, PPG does make a nice box. I'll give them that. And you could daily it, but, man, it's annoying at the end of the day.
I wouldn't say it's annoying. It's inconvenience.
Inconvenience. Yeah. That's a better word for it. All right, man. Well, for those people that don't already follow you, where can they find you on socials? Obviously, they can find you on Throtl's YouTube channel.
Just Quinn M. Clark on Instagram.
That's where I follow you.
Yeah, I have like 17 followers on TikTok. I don't post anything there. I made one. I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I never did anything with it. So literally just Instagram.
I lean into Instagram and share posts to Facebook because I'm old. Like, Facebook's still kind of relevant to me. I do like Facebook Messenger and stuff.
I have mine set to like auto post on Facebook.
That's what I do.
But
that's what I do. But you
I
get
go on there and it doesn't
there,
really
right?
do. Not really. I don't really get a lot of engagement on Facebook.
I know.
I don't do anything
I
with
do
it either.
because I'm older. Your audience that is a younger crowd, and I'm sure they're not using Facebook as much as mine does. So it actually does good for me on Facebook.
Good.
A lot of stuff. So.
Nice.
But probably has something to do with my age.
Fair enough.
Anyway, dude, this has been fun. Finally getting you on here. We've had Ricky on. We've had Evan on. Now we've got the Quinn on here as well. So the trilogy is complete.
Amen. Yep.
One of these days, I'm going to have you guys sit down and interview me.
Yeah, that'd be great. Come up with some good questions.
Thanks, dude. I've had so much fun today, and I look forward to our audience's comments and see if you guys could watch through and go back and tell us what you think about the round table, about the car culture. I think that would be a cool one, and we can all chime in on that, have a fun round table.
Yep. Thanks for having me on finally.
All righty. All done.
Sweet.